Welcome to 11:30, the Tiger Podcast. This is going to be a great podcast, I think. We're joined with John and Adrien again. We're here to talk about this past week's LSU football game as they just put a pounding on the other Tigers from Missouri. And it was just a huge embarrassment for the Missouri Tigers, with the Tigers putting over 600 yards on offense, something that the Tigers really need. And Ed Orgeron said he was going to bring to Baton Rouge as changing the offense up. So before we get started, I just want to hear your thoughts on this game, the changes you saw that Orgeron put in the offense, and also just how the team looked differently as Les Miles was there for the first 4 games.
Oh, well, I guess if you look at it, you've only changed one thing. I mean, it's the same offensive players. It's the same defensive players that's been there all year. The only thing you did was remove the problems from that Ferrari that was sitting in the yard. You took out the bad driver, and you took out the bad passenger, and you put in a new driver, and he knew how to drive it. I mean, they were fresh. They were playing hot. They were running all kind of different formations, all kind of different plays. They just did a great job all the way around, and it was fun and it was refreshing to see Death Valley jumping like that and to watch LSU throw some points up on an SEC team like they used to do.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And before Adrien gets there, what you were saying about Death Valley, when I was there watching that football game, up from the press box, they had they had like windows that swing open because it was a beautiful day, perfect day for football. And I'm sitting next to this girl named Emily who works like for the LSU student body, like media team or whatever. And she's sitting there talking to me about she didn't think a lot of people were going to show up to the game. But this was a season high in attendance with over 102,000 people. 102,000. And it was rocking. And, it just seems so surreal being there, and how, I saw a lot of signs talking about Les Miles, but then you could just feel the fans behind the back of Ed Orgeron. And after the game, Tre'Davious White, the Shreveport native here, and Brandon Harris gave the game ball to Ed Orgeron. So I think that's a sign of that the players really like Orgeron. And you could tell that, he's a hell of a football coach. If he turns a team around that fast in just a week, changed practice up, made it shorter. And in the press conference, he was talking about how he thinks shorter practices helped in the long run to help close football games like they couldn't do all season. And so like they had fresh legs and stuff. But you could definitely see that, especially in the defense. They were fired up after that Tre'Davious White interception in the second quarter, I believe. But, Adrien.
Yeah, I mean, I like what I saw. It seems like we spread the ball out more. And then, like what I've been asking for all season, we really threw the ball downfield. And it seems like it was going all over the place, not just Dupree, not just Doral. Multiple receivers were getting the ball. And we threw the ball 30 times. Etling was 19 for 30.
Yep.
And that's a lot for an LSU game. I don't know if y'all know that.
No, that's a lot.
And it just seemed like a completely different team. Granted, I know I was not sold the fact that we just did it to Missouri's defense, because Missouri hasn't been a great team this year. And even though they did have a highly touted offense, I think they had the best offense in the SEC, actually.
They had the best offense in the SEC. They had the number 1 defensive secondary in the SEC, and I think they're ranked like number 4 or 5 in the SEC in rushing. I mean, there wasn't no pushover team.
No, but my thing with that was they played like who they played. Like they played like what did they play? Eastern Marshall, I think you told me something like
Michigan.
That. They didn't play Michigan.
No, Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, Eastern Michigan. They played West Virginia. I mean, not teams that are gonna light up the scoreboard. So I didn't take too much stock into the fact that we did that much on offense.
Yeah, but with Etling, 9 different receivers he threw to, and definitely spreading the ball around. The most receptions that game was Dupree and Doral with 4, and there was not a passing touchdown because the rushing game was dominating. But something I did realize Etling was doing with one thing that Missouri I think did well was their secondary, because I'd say it's because Etling really did. He had 4. I think he had 4 sure touchdowns that he overthrew all 4 times to Dupree and Doral. And the whole time I'm sitting there telling other people beside me, I'm like, there goes another one. That's 4 total touchdowns. This could have been probably one of the highest scoring games in LSU history, but he just overthrew him. And not because the secondary was playing really well, just because he just put too much on the football. But he looked good. Short passes, short routes to opening up the run game. And Geis with his elusiveness in the first half. And then Williams getting his first 100-yard rushing game.
Could you imagine
of his
yardage
career
if Fournette would have been in?
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been insane. Something else we're going to talk about later is Fournette going to play next week? Huge question mark as they go into the swamp to play Florida next week, next Saturday. What do y'all think about LSU playing Florida at 11 a.m.?
I don't think I'm too worried about it if they play at 11 a.m. or they play.
Question mark as they go into the swamp to play Florida next week, next Saturday. What do y'all think about LSU playing Florida at 11 a.m.?
I don't think I'm too worried about it if they play at 11 a.m. or they play 11 p.m. I watched them win over Vanderbilt 13-6.
This is our first early game of the season.
Yeah,
so.
But Florida's offense is mediocre to be really nice to them. I mean,
yeah,
they've not been able to score. They've beat sorry teams just barely.
But let's go ahead and move on to the next game. Ed Orgeron's second game, first away game as head coach. And in an India press conference, he said he was going to keep practice the way it was, but he said he's going to have loudspeakers on the field during the game because he knows how loud the swamp can be. And then a reporter asked, isn't it the same with Death Valley? He said no, because they're not screaming.
Tiger bait.
Yeah, obscenities, I guess you could say. When I went onto the field in the second half, I heard student section there has a great vocabulary, I guess you could say.
Really colorful.
Yeah, very colorful vocabulary, screaming.
That's the way to do it, though.
Just he's going to get them prepared for the loud noises they're going to hear, with Etling going to have to deal with that for sure. But let's go ahead and talk about Fournette real quick. Do y'all think Fournette should play? Maybe, I don't know if it's pushing it or not, because they're still not sure if he's going to play against Florida. What do y'all think? Y'all think we need him, or of what we did against one of the best top 4 rushing defenses in the SEC statistically? Do you think we'll be fine with Geis and Williams?
I think Fournette, if he's not 100%, depending on how the game flow goes, I wouldn't mind using him in situational football, per se, if we needed to. I understand, we have Geis and Williams. We have really good guys behind him. But this Florida front seven is a little bit better than Missouri's front seven. And also, they have one of the top cornerback NFL prospects in the country with, I think they call him Tabor. I believe that's his name.
Yeah.
And so it's not going to be as easy to throw it down the field. But I want to say that I feel like we would be okay with Geis and Williams, just because we'd be able to control the game more, because Florida doesn't have as good of an offense as Missouri did, and we saw what we did to Missouri.
Mm-hmm. The thing about Williams, though, is Williams just hasn't been able to play because of Fournette and Geis. He just never got in. But this dude is 6'1", 233 pounds. He's not a Fournette size height-wise, but close to it in the weight range. But, he was running the ball and looked like a great third down back. What you said, situational. If you just use Fournette for maybe short, third down plays.
You could use him as a decoy. He would definitely draw attention there.
Exactly. But
I'll say his Heisman candidacy, though, it's over. It's just over.
Well, I don't think he's really worried about that.
You're looking at,
I think he's worried about his draft stock.
Right.
Yeah, he's looking towards the NFL.
You're looking at his draft stock. You're looking at, who wants him in the NFL. And I think if I'm Fournette, I want to play. I want to be out there and play. But at the same time, you don't want to be out there if you're not 100%, because you mess around, you get hurt, and you got to have surgery on that ankle or something like that.
Yeah.
Then you're looking at real problems down the road that's going to affect your pocketbook.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think he definitely needs to save himself for our tougher games coming up. Not saying Florida's going to be an easy game, but we definitely got a lot more tougher ones coming up.
Yeah, because we come home to an out-of-conference game, and then after that we make our big run. We got our Arkansas,
Make or break.
Bamas, we got Texas A&M, who's looking good this year.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and say something. This is nothing about LSU football, but Alabama goes into Fayetteville this weekend.
They better watch it.
And I'm calling an upset in that game.
Me too.
Because Alabama hasn't really impressed me that much. They're good. They're great, but they haven't shown me that they're going to dominate everybody they play. And an Arkansas team that is hungry, and they've been meaning to prove themselves these past 2 years. and led by the passing game and the receiving core of Shreveport's own Jared Cornelius. I think they're going to make a statement. They if they don't win, I think it's going to be a very close football game in Fayetteville.
I don't think Alabama's been that impressive at all this year. I mean, they've not looked. Now, granted, their defense is about the same, but their offense has not looked the way it has before with the hit you in the mouth, hit you in the mouth, and hit you in the mouth till we start scoring, a bunch.
Okay. They haven't, and honestly, like everyone's taken so much stock into the, how good they have looked, but they really haven't played that. I mean, they played Ole Miss at Ole Miss, and that's always going to be a tough game for them. USC, I never thought USC was that good of a team anyway. And then the other games they played, Kent State, Western Kentucky, and I don't remember the other one.
They played Kentucky last week.
Yeah, they played Kentucky as well.
That might as well have been like a high school game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and this is really, besides Ole Miss, this is their next big test. And as if there's anyone who would like to see Alabama lose, it's me. But I just don't feel like this is the week for that upset yet.
I'll tell you what. Looking at their schedule, I can see them getting upset in Fayetteville, but I can also see Tennessee doing something to them too.
Tennessee, A&M,
Exactly.
And I can see Texas A&M doing something to them. And if we can keep the way we go, I can see us doing something to them. I mean, we ain't gonna get the national championship, but I sure love to spoil some Bama.
Mm-hmm. But I was talking to a bunch of the media guys, and we were all talking, and there just seems to be a type of magic that Tennessee has this year. Coming every single game, they were down by double digits. Every game this season, they've come back and whooped butt. And that crazy ending, probably one of the best endings to a football game I've seen, with what was it, 2 Hail Marys in 10 seconds?
Yeah, 51-yard
oh
Hail
my
Marys.
Goodness. And they just seem to have this, good old Rocky Top magic with them. And I don't know if it's going to carry on all season, but when they play Alabama, that's definitely going to be the game of the week.
They got a tough game this week too, going into A&M.
Oh yeah, going into A&M.
That's I think that's where game day's at.
Yeah,
game day's in College Station this week.
Okay, so as LSU goes in to the swamp to play the Florida Gators, the Gators have
Gator never been about that.
Another injury question for them, and they're starting quarterback in Luke Del Rio. They're not sure if he's going to play now. So that means Austin Appleby, who's thrown 44 for 72 for 470 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Pretty decent for a backup, but that's. You don't want to really put a backup quarterback against this LSU defense, especially coming off a game where they held Missouri, who scored 79 points last game, or 72 or 79 points, and then get held to 7 this next game. And they're I think the momentum's on their side, and they're going to start snowball effects about to happen. It's going to keep getting bigger and bigger.
That was
and
definitely
bigger.
a confidence builder for our
Exactly.
defense.
And so I think that's going to be a huge difference maker if Del Rio plays or if Appleby's the starter for Florida. And also with, I think Florida also has, I'm not sure who's better, LSU or Florida in the defensive backs set. And so I think it's going to be a defensive game. I do not think there's going to be a lot of points scored, but I think just that huge win, emotional win, great for LSU's psychological, I guess you can say, means. That's just a huge win for them. And I think they're going to start rolling now just because of that.
And I definitely want to see us win this game because this would also be our first road win of the season. Every game we've won this season, we're 3-2. All 3 of those wins is coming home. This will definitely be a good way to start, our upcoming stretch of tough games. If we can get a quality road win in a tough environment. Yeah,
I think we will win this game by probably by 14. But we need this win because not only. I mean, granted, everybody, just like you said, we beat number 1 offense and da-da-da-da. But we need a win over a big name like Florida right now.
Yeah.
I think we can do it. I think that they're pretty much turned loose now. As long as Etland doesn't get stupid with the ball or we don't have a bunch of fumbles or anything like that.
He needs to learn how to slide also.
Yeah,
he's getting hit way too much.
He's going to have Harris back on the field.
And that's the last thing we need.
But I think we can do well in Florida, and if we get that one big win and then come back and have our non-conference, and if we're still hitting on all cylinders like that, because I'm not going to say, Coach O's here, we're going to win out the year, and there's going to be some miraculous stuff happening, we're going to be in the national championship again. I don't see that happening.
Shades of 2007.
Yeah, but we need this win. I think if we can hit this, with all cylinders running, I think we can run through. If we can stay the way we are, I think we'd be the toughest team in the SEC West.
No, exactly. That's like LSU is just not getting into their Western schedule, and their non-conference is Southern Miss and I think South Alabama.
Yeah.
So they'll be fine there, but with this Florida game, and then also Alabama game, and also
we always play A&M the very last game.
A&M.
That's not right.
That's is that in Kyle Field? Or is that at Death Valley?
Yes, it is. Yeah. It's in College Station.
Okay, so I think that's going to be one of the toughest battles for y'all, just because it's away. But Alabama's is going to be right there too. But it is at Death Valley.
I'm glad that game's at home.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that A&M game is going to be tougher just because we're coming into their place again, and they haven't been able to beat us yet.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Sumlin has not been able to beat
exactly.
LSU.
They got a lot riding on that, and especially depending on how they look at that season, they could have even more pressure on them, depending on where they're at in the rankings.
Because if they take a loss to Tennessee, which they're a good team, and then Bama beats them, and then Arkansas beats them, and then we beat them, well, the first two happened, Kevin Sumlin's probably gone.
I don't see them losing the 4 games, though.
He's already on the hot seat. And you got to look at A&M. They haven't really hit a real big powerhouse game yet.
Mm-hmm.
When these big powerhouse games start, you lose 2 or 3 of them, and they may say, well, let's go and cut someone and get them up out of here.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, since we're talking about coaches being fired in Texas, also if reports are saying if Texas loses to Oklahoma this weekend, that at the end of the season, Charlie Strong will be out of here. Okay. If Kevin Sumlin ends up getting fired, which I don't think that will happen for a while, would y'all want either Strong or Sumlin in LSU if the Orgeron effect doesn't stay around?
Nope.
No?
Don't want Strong. Strong's not a winning coach.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind Sumlin, just
Yeah.
because we have our biggest problem is offense, and that's what he does is offense. But I don't think that Coach O really deserves to be kicked out like that. I mean, I know that we're LSU, we want that big name coach, but I do think we should see what he can do.
I think if he goes out with a winning record, then he needs to have the job.
If he beats Bama, regardless of whatever happens in the other games,
he can lose every game. If he beats Bama,
if he
he's
beats
got the
Bama,
job.
he'll have the support of the fans.
Mm-hmm. Oh, exactly. Oh, I think if he beats Bama, he keeps his job. If LSU loses to Bama, he will be in consideration for it for sure. But I think Todd Herman, the way that he's doing the typical rejecting the question, not rejecting the offer. And whenever he gets asked about it,
well, he's got something to wait on now.
Oh,
because
exactly.
If they get rid of Strong, you got a college who, now don't get me wrong.
Where he graduated from.
Herman is a good coach, and I wouldn't mind seeing him at LSU, but he's not $100 million coach yet.
Oh, no.
He knows how to beat
Texas,
Nick Saban.
And the thing is, Texas will be dumb enough to say, here's $110 million.
Exactly.
But the thing is, you got a roster at Texas that has to have rebuild on it, and it's going to take a couple of years to get them back to where they were. So,
well, I will say, I think Texas is a lot better than they have been these past couple of years. It's just the coaching situation. The coaching has put them in situations to where they lose to Cal and let Cal put up 50 points on them, and then last week got 48 points put up on them. So that's a game to watch this week as Oklahoma takes on Texas in one of the biggest rivalries in the country. Just because it has, I think both teams coaches has implications on that. Because if I think if Bob Stoops loses to Texas, this Oklahoma will boot him out for sure.
You think they'll wait till the end of the season? Or do it old Les Miles style?
No, they'll wait.
I mean, it does seem to be trying to pick up a trend now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I think Texas already said they're not going to fire him during the season.
Mm-hmm.
But
didn't they? I think they demoted their defensive coordinator today.
To the defensive back coach, and now Charlie Strong's like, all right, well, I'm fighting for my job. I'm calling defensive plays.
Heads are rolling in Austin.
Exactly. So, all right. So before we, I want to get scores again because Jon Boy
was like 7 points off.
No, I think he was spot on the points LSU scored.
Yeah, with LSU, talking about with Missouri, he had scoring like 7 more. So he was only like 6 off.
42-14.
Yeah. The final score was 42-7. So impressive right there. So we're going to do that again. Let's go with Adrien first.
No. Why you got to start with me?
And then we'll go to the last week's champ.
To the reigning champion of scores.
So what do you think is going to happen in this game and why?
Well, I think we're going to win. Let me start off with that since I don't have a score in my head yet. I like what you said about a defensive battle, especially because Florida's offense is nowhere to be found, and I think that's regardless of who's going to play quarterback. Whether it is Del Rio or what do you say, Applebee's? What did you say his name was?
Applebee's McFlanagan's.
Applebee.
Appleby. Yeah, I was
or
close.
Appleby or something. I don't know.
Well, regardless of who plays, because they both seemed to play well when they were in the starting position. Kind of delay till I can get a score. Let's see what we got. I'll go in and say I feel like we can get about 24. I'll go about 24-10.
All right, 24-10. Not a very high-scoring football game. I think that's going to be the same way. I think LSU is going to squeak by just because it's an away game and because of the secondary of Florida. But I think the rushing game's going to – I think they'll have another close to another 300-yard rushing game, like, combined. I think if Fournette plays or if not, I think Geis is going to have a big game just because he's so elusive and he's so explosive. His acceleration's crazy, and he keeps his speed whenever he makes his cuts. Y'all saw that on his first touchdown run whenever he basically scooted back like half a yard, did not lose any speed at all when he pushed back off. So I'm going to take LSU. I'm going to go 17-3.
Squeaks by, you said?
Yeah. Well, it's going to be closer than the score looks.
And here he comes, the master himself.
I think they got this in their head that I don't know how to say it. Les Miles held them down so much. And if you hold somebody down, you make them start believing the way that you're acting. You know, I think they got turned loose and they started to remember, man, I was a 5-star recruit. What am I doing out here acting stupid? I was a 4-star recruit. What am I out here running slow? I think they're turned loose. I think they're going to go into Gainsville and they know what they need to do. I think it's going to be a battle. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a few flags in this game. I mean, the only other team that they don't like more than Florida is Bama. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be some head knocking on both sides. But I think as long as I don't need Etling to be Brett Favre. I need Etling to be like Dak Prescott. I need you to manage the game.
Yeah, especially since it's not going to be a shootout. Yeah.
So as long as he's not doing stupid passes and as long as he's not, chunking interceptions 50 yards downfield or whatnot, as long as he can manage the game and he opens up, whether Fournette plays or not, because guys can get it and Williams can get it.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as they can keep the game open with their little short pass game, that gives the run to go and, it keeps the defense honest. I think the game goes down, I'm going to say 28-17.
All right. LSU, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So how do y'all think Ed Orgeron's going down there? You think he's going to fly off the team or drive his Hummer?
I just love my Hummer.
I just want to see him come out to a press conference wearing nothing but coveralls and that little straw hat.
Mm-hmm. It's exactly how he sounded. Great team win. But I don't know. When he walks into a room, it just seems like he owns the room. I don't see how he didn't get that job at USC. But I'm glad he's at LSU right now, especially after last week. We will see what happens this week as he drives down there in his Hummer. So,
hey, I'm Coach O. I just love my Hummer.
Thank y'all for joining us, and y'all have a blessed day.